The Full Exposure Podcast is made possible by Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn in appreciation for the contributions that artists and creative minds provide to our community. Arts and culture are essential to a rich and rewarding life, strengthening our overall well-being and our appreciation of all that we see, hear, and experience. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Full Exposure with me, your host, Brian Kelly. This is the podcast where I first take a portrait of my guest, and then we sit down and have a conversation about whatever we want. And before I introduce my next guest, Erica Lang, I want to share with you a little bit about the portraits that I created of her. Erica's life and business is inspired by nature. And in thinking about that, in terms of creating a portrait of her, I wanted to use some green and orange colors and use some gel lighting during her portrait session. And this was intentional. This was to reflect the green of the pine forest that Erica likes to go hiking in, as well as that sort of orangish brown of the dried pine needles that you see on the forest floor. So those sort of the colorful aspect of the green and the orange in her portrait was intentional. And I don't know if it's clever, but, I start to think about the guests well before they come in. And, it's a real challenge to try to really think about a person that you don't know very well and then create a unique portrait. So that's just another reason why I love this podcast so much. It incorporates and challenges me as a photographer. And then once that portrait session is done, we get to dig into stuff with that guest. And I appreciate you joining us and for listening. I really, really do. As always, I'm super excited about our growth, and it's just a pleasure to have you listening right now to the podcast. So to see those portraits of Erica, it's just another good reason to go to the fullexposurepodcast.com website and check out Erica's dedicated episode page. You can also peruse all of our past guests and see their portraits and video excerpts and stream the full audio of our conversation. So as always, I love our website, and I hope you visit it. It's a great tool to really get the full exposure experience. That's cheesy, but I said it, and I'm going to keep it in. So whether you're a professional artist, an aspiring artist, or an entrepreneur, today's episode is 100% meant for you. My guest is artist Erica Lang. She is the founder and creative director of Woosah Outfitters, which is an art and an apparel brand inspired by nature. Her Woosah Outfitters storefront on Wealthy Street in Grand Rapids, Michigan, has quickly grown into a very sought-after destination to look at her art, purchase her apparel, as well as enjoy a great cup of coffee. Because that's right, Erica also owns Outside Coffee Co., adjacent to Woosah, and it is by far the coolest outdoor four-season coffee shop in the country. And that's just facts, people. I ain't bragging. That's just facts. In this conversation, we explore Erica's incredible determination and impatience that drove her to found Woosah when she was still a student at Kendall College of Art and Design. Erica is a friend that inspires me personally to keep moving forward and keep creating. And I know you will find her to be an inspiration as well. So let's get after it. Let's explore the bigger picture with artist, entrepreneur, mac and cheese connoisseur, Erica Lang.
Oh, I probably do.
Dude, this is why I love and hate video stuff, because there's so many things can go wrong on any time, any moment.
Yes, I can relate to that.
And it drives you crazy. Did you see how insane I was during that whole time where I was like, why do you sound so far away?
Yeah.
And it's because I had the mic, you were talking to the back of the microphone.
We tried we tried all the knobs.
This is the kind of professionalism you just walked into at Brian Kelly Productions.
I'm honored to be here.
Well, let me tell you, we dodged a bullet. See how much better that sounds?
It is crispy.
It's
nice.
It's
still freaking me out, though.
You can take the headphones off.
I'm in my head. No, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it.
All right. Well, anyway, you were telling me you and Kelly are getting married in September, right?
Getting hitched, yeah.
getting hitched up.
Doing it.
And you're going to do it in Savant. You got engaged, though. I remember, just as all through social. It's not like we talk all the time, although it sounds like we do.
It sounds like we do.
We're pretty much best friends, I'm pretty sure. We did establish that over what type of mac and cheese and how we prepare it.
Yes, extra soupy.
Extra soupy, extra cheesy.
Mm-hmm. Eat with a spoon.
You go off menu, meaning you take the craft original, and then you just jazz it from there. It's
not original. Got to go with the shapes.
Well, the sauce is the same, right?
Yes.
Original sauce.
Same sauce.
You just somehow
the noodle
like
does
the
make a
better?
big difference.
The
It's
noodle
shape
does.
number 1, spiral number 2, original number 3.
The macaroni's last for you, the elbow macaroni.
100% last.
Why?
We were doing so
what about
well.
the ovals with the and it has like
shells?
the little wheels?
Oh, those are, I would consider those shapes.
Yeah, I think that's what you're talking about.
Number
That's
one.
But I mean,
No, like
what is it about
SpongeBob,
'em? Yeah.
Just the way that the cheese gets in each noodle, the ratio, it's spot on.
There's more surface area probably
yes.
too.
Yes.
It's like a radiator.
Something about it in my mouth. It's good. It's good.
Well, I mean, yeah, so there's that. And I know that you got engaged, but you did it in the UP or something, right?
Yeah, up in the Porkies.
Oh, nice.
Have you
so
been?
nice up there. I've driven through. I've never spent a ton of time in the UP, but the Keweenaw, I want to spend more time up there.
Yeah.
There's a million things on my list.
Yeah, Copper Harbor's real cool too.
Yeah.
Marquette, that's a shoe-in.
Well, I have spent a little time in Marquette.
Yeah.
And it is beautiful, and it is like it is a pretty surprising little town up there.
Yeah.
It's a little bigger than you think, and it isn't as like backwards as you think it might be, as being like the only thing in the UP, kind of.
Yeah. It's nice and crunchy though.
But it still has plenty of UP-isms.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so you're getting married in September at Savant.
Yep. Should we invite the people?
Do you want
You're just
what
no.
people?
You're like, you're getting
tossing
married
out
at Savant the 19th at this time.
Yes.
Here's the dress.
I'm like your wedding planner.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's just go through this
The
punch
menu
list.
will look like this.
Yeah. What are you thinking, menu-wise?
Actually, we're having a brunch wedding.
Brunch. So did my wife and I.
No way.
Dude, brunch wedding. So we had a jazz brunch at Charlie's Crab.
Ooh, a jazz brunch.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Yeah. So we had jazz.
Live jazz?
Live jazz.
Yep.
We got married at it was early. It was like 10 a.m. And then I think it was like 11:30 to 2.
Okay.
At Charlie's Crab. Now, again, this is 20-some years ago. Like, downtown wasn't what it was.
I've never been there, Charlie's Crab.
It's still good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other things now, but and it was great because it was a Saturday, and everybody loved it. Our guests loved it because they're like, it's 3:00. I've had mimosas.
Yeah.
I've got a nice buzz going, and I'm gonna go home now.
Cried. I've laughed.
And you haven't taken up
danced.
my whole Saturday.
Except we are gonna take up everyone's whole Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the what's happening after the brunch?
We're doing like a 2-hour nap period where you're free to go nap if you want or do whatever. And then we're going to meet up at the Knickerbocker and start bar hopping from like 8 to probably 2.
See, what we did is we went to Dr. Grin's because my buddy who
That's a good idea.
does stand-up, he stood up in my wedding, my old friend Dave Dyer. He stood up at my wedding, and he happened to have a set that night at the Bob, so we took our wedding party.
Nice.
And we just packed out Dr. Grin's and saw 3 comics in one show.
That sounds great.
And we did have a downtime in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm going to need a nap for sure.
Yeah, it's a blur.
We're getting married at like 10:30 a.m., which is going to be interesting. Kelly's not a morning person.
Oh, great.
But she will be that day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep her up.
Yeah.
Just like
No sleeping.
no sleep. She's deliriously happy by 10:30.
Everyone's going to think I like dragged her there.
Yeah. So you guys met. Okay. So then, but take me back though, because we've established that we've known each other as creatives for a while. We've never spent much time together.
5 years, I'd say.
I sometimes annex you into my photo shoots when I need somebody
Yes.
like you, whatever that is. Cool blonde chick, basically.
That's me.
That's your profile.
Tag me in.
And I'll selfishly ask you to be a talent in a scene. And then other times we used Woosah when it was at the old location for
Yep.
video location shoots.
Yeah.
and things like that. So we've crossed creatively, usually because I need you in front of the camera for me. But I remember you telling me that you're from the east side of the state. So just reset that. How did you get to the west side from the east side?
So grew up in Milford. Have you heard of Milford?
No. Where's Milford again? I've heard of it.
It's near Novi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Fantastic convention center there at Novi, right off the
yes,
highway.
there really
You
is.
can see it.
Nice mall, too.
It's got a hotel attached
12
to
Oaks,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love Novi.
Hard to leave. But I wanted to be a nurse right off the bat, like graduating from high school. So I went to Saginaw Valley on a scholarship, went on spring break.
Wait, what kind of scholarship? Like an academic scholarship?
Yeah, academic scholarship to go there.
Really?
Not full ride, but enough that it was like, yeah, I'm going to go there.
You're like, I can do this.
Yeah, so I got the scholarship, and then we went on our senior spring break. And while we were gone, we didn't realize I was supposed to accept that scholarship, like sign.
Oh.
So I didn't know this. I went to the school, and the day I moved in, you're supposed to go sign like any of the loans that you were receiving, and it said $0. And I was like,
What?
there's been a mistake here. They're like, no, you didn't accept that. We gave it to another student.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was off to a rocky start.
Gut punch.
Yeah, so I was there for a year, and then I realized...
Full tuition?
Yeah, paid the whole thing. It was great. And then, I realized, like, I would be an awful nurse because I can't even see, like, a cut without wanting to vomit.
Really?
Yeah, I just get really lightheaded and...
But
yeah.
the romantic notion of helping and healing people
Yes.
was what you were attracted to.
I thought it would be great. And
Yeah.
you get to, meet so many different people, lots of weird stories you'd have up
Yeah.
your sleeve.
In their worst moments as a
in
nurse,
their worst
you get to just
moments.
constantly...
Just those vulnerabilities I
It's
was
like
craving.
a wedding photographer that's always with people on their most stressful day of their life.
Right.
So don't stress out whoever's shooting your wedding.
Leanne Cobb.
All right, Leanne's
great.
She can handle it.
Yeah, she's great. So then, I transferred to Central Michigan University to join the Army.
Army?
Yep, that was like the next
Okay.
logical move for me in my head. I was so hung up on job security, and so like nursing, you're gonna get a
Right.
job. Army, you're gonna get a job. My brother was doing ROTC at Central, so I moved there to join him. And then it was like the day I was supposed to meet with the officer, whoever it is, to sign the scholarship, because
Yeah.
that would have been like full ride.
Yeah.
I backed out. I was like,
You backed out of the Army?
I backed out of doing ROTC. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think this is for, like, I'm a pretty peaceful, like, person.
Put a weapon in your hand.
Yeah, but like the
Hard
thought.
to imagine now, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Like you firing an M16,
No, I can't. My life would
climbing
be
under
totally
barbed wire and
different.
stuff.
I'd be ripped though.
You would be totally ripped.
Be totally ripped.
Yeah.
I fucked up. So then I was like, all right, if I'm like this scared, and that I'm going to join the Army, that I should just pursue like the thing that I've always loved, which is art.
Right.
So I studied art at Central for like that year, a full year, and then I looked into, pursuing it more seriously and transferred to Kendall.
Okay.
So that's what brought me
So
to
you
Grand
brought
Rapids.
over to Kendall from Central.
Yep.
And what were you always working? So what was your first? Because you work in carving and dye transfers and
Yeah.
painting and
Yeah, so at
illustration.
first-
So like, what was the first thing that was like, this could be something for me? I mean, the practice. Like, what medium was it?
Definitely woodcut. Like
Yeah.
as soon as I carved, I was like, this is it.
What is it about carving?
It's just so physical, and you can't be anywhere else. You have
Yeah.
to be fully present with it. And the mystery, like I'm such an impatient person. Like I want something done yesterday.
Yeah.
And you have to slow down and enjoy that process. But then the instant gratification, as soon as you ink it, there it is.
Yeah.
But not knowing the whole time kind of like leaves me on the edge of my seat, I guess.
You're right.
It's just exciting.
Does that impatience cross over to your business? Meaning, like, I always found, I'll relate it to me because I always found, and we're practically the same person now we found
Yes.
out, is I'm still very impatient. Like, I started a podcast, I want, like, it to be,
You want to be
here,
like,
I
the
wanna,
best at it. And,
yeah, I want to work,
yeah.
I'm working so hard at it. And then this has been, everything in my career has been that way, but also in a hurry to get to wherever
Yeah.
you want to be creatively, professionally. Like, has that been for you too? Like, it's a big
yeah.
swing. You've taken some massive risks in your business.
Yeah, and I've always like held myself up to this like unreachable Like I'll compare myself to these big brands that I look up to, like Patagonia.
Yeah.
And if I'm not on par with that, then I have fallen so short, you know?
Isn't that ridiculous
just
to even
me.
say?
Like, yeah.
But you know that, but also at the same time, it's so part of who you are as driving you forward, but
Right.
it's also sounds ridiculous, and you know it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because you're Erica with Woosah.
Right.
It's going to take a while to get to Patagonia.
Yeah, right.
You'll get there eventually.
Who knows?
But that's what I'm saying, impatience. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you have to do a lot of work. That's the other thing.
Yeah, and creatively, like once you get good at one thing, like I think I've mastered woodcut. There's other things I could learn there, but I know I'm comfortable in that space. But to learn a new craft, all of a sudden you feel like you're in college again and you're scared that you won't be good at it.
Right.
You're like, should I even put the time into it? I'm not that good.
Yeah.
But I look back at my first woodcuts and they're awful.
Yeah, of course.
But I was having so much fun that I didn't care.
Oh, I
was
can't.
just
If
eager.
it's more than 10 years ago, like at looking at, and I've been doing this 22 years, so anything past 10 years ago, I can't even look at.
Yeah.
And I spent 12 years making a living at photography, and if I see something 15 years old,
Right.
I want to cringe and crawl in a hole.
But it also reminds you to like put your stuff out there even if you don't think it's good.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you. 'Cause
someone else.
How many people come to you? They come to me too, like students or aspiring photographers, and I'm like, go create and show people.
Yeah.
It's
doesn't
never
have to
too
be
late
good.
it can be where you're at right now because
Yeah.
that's who you are.
Yep.
But you never know what'll happen. If you don't share it or put yourself out there,
Right.
you can't be successful in a vacuum.
Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't wait till you're already really good to start sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Die cuts, though, and just carving, what I like in that, I'm relating it to photography, is that is kind of like a negative, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like you do one painting and you sell it and then it's gone and you can't do anything with it. Like woodcut has this like a negative. You can
Yeah.
make as many theoretically as you can sell or want to make.
Yeah.
Was that part of the process that appealed to you, or is that like
Oh, for sure.
so far back? Really?
Yeah, in college, I knew that this is what I wanted to do when I graduated because I started Woosah while I was at Kendall. And I remember learning like intaglio, like copper etching, and thinking to myself, if I want to continue to do this, then I'm going to have like an acid bath in a dark room and all of this stuff like to
Right.
make this work. I don't think that's as feasible. If I do woodcut, then I just need this one press.
Right.
And I can carve one thing and, print 100 of them.
Right.
And that was definitely something that was like cool. I could see myself making a living doing it.
That's amazing to me, because to merge like talent, that you're just talent as a carver, and apply it to like a business mindset, and maybe it wasn't quite so business, but it was more of a practical approach to art. It's like, well, for one, it's easier. I'm still creating and carving whatever I want
Yeah.
as an artist, but then to be able to have this advantage of being able to replicate it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
As the paint, every time you paint, it's like, that's gone
Yeah.
and over. I'm not, painting's great, but
Yeah. Then it's just gone.
the other thing, so I don't know. This is not a podcast of you telling me things about you and then me comparing myself to you.
You're like, that is also like photography
Well,
in this way.
But what I'm interested in, why I say that, is because you started, and this goes way before you ever got to Grand Rapids. Like, I started an art gallery. It was just my own tiny little art gallery space. I only sold my own prints. That was unheard of in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
To have a standalone downtown, Van Andel Arena had just gone in. I had 300 square
Is this
feet.
division or?
It was downtown at the Courtyard by Marriott.
Okay.
And the space isn't there anymore because they made it a conference space. But
Okay.
the point is I started thinking about showing way too early, like that work, but it was more of a fine art sense. It's not the portraiture and commercial work I do now,
Yeah.
but it was like night cityscapes of Grand Rapids, and that's what I was selling. But you started very early in your artistic career opening a retail storefront, taking those risks, putting yourself out there as a brand and a person. And a lot of artists I've found, and maybe you can relate to this too, because you're
'Cause we're the
extroverted, but
same.
you're also introverted. We are the same person. But also just the idea of a lot of artists will not take the risk, and they also don't want to put themselves out into the world, and they sort of wait to get kind of discovered.
Yeah.
Now we're finishing each other's sentences. But when you talk to that from your perspective, I mean, it's kind of like, on one hand, it's absurd. You just get out of Calvin, you started Woosah, this whole brand, you're still in school, and then right after that, you have a storefront on Division.
Well, yeah, I guess being afraid of, like, I mean, what we're talking about is really being afraid of what people are going to think, right? So at Kendall, I wouldn't even talk about Woosah. It was something I did after school.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I was making art, but not bringing it to art school with me. And so my senior year, I finally, like, brought those two worlds together. But I was so scared that what I was making after school wasn't going to be considered, like, fine art because I was having so much fun. Kendall, and it was, it wasn't, like, always very conceptual or, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, it was like, screw it. Once you graduate and you have no backup plan, you're like, this is it. Like, I might as well give it all I have.
Because there's no jobs as carvers, you know, like, really.
Yeah, you can be a screen printer. I mean, I could go work for another brand as, like, a graphic artist or something, but I just had this, like, insatiable pull, like, to follow this path and see where it was going to take me.
Was the call to nature kind of the same always part of your life, like growing up and getting out and taking time in the wilderness intentionally?
Kind of. I mean, I grew up on a lake, so water has always been, like, a huge part of my life.
Me too. Yes.
Tubing.
Yep. Yeah, water skiing, whatever. Winter
I was never
time,
good at
snowmobiling.
wakeboarding, but I would try. And then my aunt and uncle, they bought a cottage the year I was born on Lake Michigan, right next to the bridge, Trails End Bay.
Yeah.
It's right by that dark sky park they put in up there.
Yeah.
So we'd go up there every summer and mountain bike, and, you know, sail. They have Hobie cats and all that fun stuff. So yeah, there was that aspect of it. But, like, hiking and being in nature and, like, being grounded by it and feeling relaxed didn't really happen till, like, late high school, early college for me.
Yeah.
When you're kind of really looking for yourself, I think I could find myself there, I guess.
Yeah. But then, so what gets you from getting out of Kendall? How long was it after you graduated from Kendall that your storefront opened on Division?
8 months.
That's insane.
I know. I'm insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've accepted it.
But look at you now.
I was just telling Kelly, like, everything that I've done, like, every big step, I actually committed to it before it happened, if that makes sense. Like, I bought a house, but before my offer was accepted and the bank even said yes, I got the keys and remodeled it. And I knew that if I didn't get it, I just remodeled this person's home for free. But I got it.
Right.
And, like, the storefront downtown, I signed the lease, but I didn't have any money for the build out. So I did a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And, like, Outside Coffee, we bought the camper before the city ever said we could even operate a food truck on that lot.
Yeah.
I think there's just something to, like, I don't know, just going balls to the wall and knowing in your gut, like, it's going to work out.
Well, it's about intentionality, which I think, you know, you can manifest things.
100%.
You know.
Yeah.
Not always.
It's hard to talk about that because people just kind of roll their eyes
no,
at you.
It's
like,
complete.
Oh, sure.
It's complete. Like, there's so much of that noise out there about self-improvement, entrepreneurship. You can do it. Just do it. Create. Go.
Just do it.
Yeah. And it's so in manifesting your vision. And, you know, these are all good practices to have, but I think there's another gear that it requires of commitment that is fearless.
Yeah. You have to take the risk. You can't just visualize it.
Right.
You have to do it.
I just want to cover the arc of Woosah because just your storefront now has become, and I'll get there in a second, is so you're on Division for how long? Division Avenue?
2.5 years.
How do you characterize that neighborhood, just bluntly? Like, it's a tough place to do business in a retail storefront.
Yeah. It felt like, I don't know, the movers, makers, shakers, people trying to make stuff happen. That's where you would open a storefront and see if you had what it took to make it. But you're trying to make it in, like, a really tough neighborhood. So if you do make it, then you kind of feel like, all right, I think we could make it anywhere now.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of artists, musicians, there was a donut shop once upon a time.
Oh, and the ramen place too.
Oh, Bandit Queen?
Yes.
That was good.
Oh, it was so
good ramen. I miss that place.
Yeah.
But
so, yeah, tough neighborhood. There's just a lot of things happening there. It isn't a place where a lot of people feel comfortable parking their car and walking sometimes. Yeah. But if you're of the neighborhood, it's largely
You get used to the riffraff.
Yeah.
You're like, it's just a regular day. Someone got hit by a car, regular day.
There are a lot of ambulances there. It's like, oh, well, someone, it was payday. It's the first of the month, and there's people
that is true.
Passing out and they overdosed on drugs, and they're going to go to the hospital now.
Yeah, that's something you'd consider. Like, it's payday. It's the first of the month. Like, you get used to it.
Yeah. But you're there. How long were you there? In my mind, it's kind of a blur. 3 years, maybe?
Almost 3 years, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So then when does the current property, so you're on Wealthy Street, this amazing corridor that's been revived the last 20 years, kind of started with Art of the Table.
Yeah.
And Wealthy Street Bakery was kind of the first catalyst to go into that whole corridor. And the rehab of further up of Wealthy Theater.
Yeah.
Those were the three kind of linchpins, I think, to like start that corridor off 20 years ago. But how do you get sort of nosing around this what has quickly become this iconic Woosah place for Woosah, but also outside coffee?
So I started looking I knew I wanted to be in like uptown somewhere because I wanted to be in a neighborhood that was walkable and felt like it had a really closely knit community because community is really big for both of our brands, Woosah and Outside Coffee. And I had that in mind when we were moving. I wanted a space that we could have a coffee shop in. So the first space that I found and fell in love with was Cherry Street, the gallery. What's his name? Richard App, yeah.
I'll cut that part out. Yeah. Actually, Rich needs the humility right now. I'll leave it in.
I should know.
So
I'll just start over.
Yeah. No, it's fine. He'll be fine.
No. So the first building that I fell in love with was the Richard App Gallery on Cherry Street.
Perfect.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Isn't Rich iconic in town? Isn't he amazing?
I'm going to kick your ass.
No, I'm just kidding. No, Rich is great. He's a friend of mine. Yeah. So, I mean, that was another, that was a very a destination for collecting all kinds of different art. Yeah,
and it had like the 2 doors and the 2 spaces, and I could just like visualize our store and the coffee shop, and Cherry Street was great. And so we were meeting with the guy who had just bought it, Charlie Secchia, to negotiate a lease and stuff. And so I was feeling like this is it. This is where we're going to move. Like I started to like really invest my energy into that space, like thinking about it, and then it fell through. And so I've learned when that shit happens to just be like, well, there's something better coming. I just don't know it yet.
How do you do that when you're already emotionally like already involved in the space and you're like thinking about all your things going in this place, and then all of a sudden where's the practicality of like shutting that off and going, oh, you're lost?
Yeah, I guess I've seen it happen in my life enough. Like there's a pattern that's developed that I'm like, okay, like I almost joined the Army. That fell through. Something better happened,
Yeah.
And then my storefront on Division, I almost signed a different space, and then something better came. So I just think it's better to like choose to believe in that and hope for the best than to like dwell in that negativity of like, I lost my dream space.
Yeah, or just chasing something too far that has this receding sort of like, you can't overextend yourself to get something if it doesn't want you back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not to get all, voodoo with it, but like if you were meant to have it, it would be yours.
Right.
And it didn't work out. And so then we kept looking for spaces, and Wealthy at Charles was for sale, but like on the down low. There was no sign out or anything. It was just on like the, commercial properties for sale website. Mm-hmm. And so I went and toured it, and I remember feeling like this is like too much, too good to be true. There's no way it's going to happen. And it ended up happening and working out for us. So,
well, it's an incredible building, and it had a previous business owners in there that did a great job at Wealthy at Charles and creating this unique place. So it was already known as this a very unique but well-run, greatly curated retail space. But
yeah, it was
entirely
like a community
different
staple for sure.
Yeah. And then, and now it's become Woosah, but it's like, at least it was already sort of like, there had been a retail path, a successful one for many years there, but you've transformed the space and the exterior so much that it's really become, will you break down the vision of Woosah into that space and how you incorporate the wilderness and out? I mean, that's the genius of your spaces, and it was evident in the division space. But where you are now on Wealthy Street is off the like. I'm blown away by your merchandising.
Oh, thank you.
However, just your art, of course, it all starts there.
Yeah.
And how it flows to Outside Coffee.
Yeah.
And that experience and placemaking that you've made is really incredible.
I think that's probably my favorite thing to do, is to create an experience and like a feeling in a space. And that space, I was nervous to move there because Division was like warm with all those bricks and like the old original exposed wooden beams and those cool industrial lights. Like everything in that space just felt like rugged and outdoorsy. And then I was moving to Wealthy Street where it's all drywall, and the beams were painted like shimmer silver because it was like a high-end furniture store.
Right.
So I was like, how do we warm this up? I think one of the biggest things was we bought joists from an old barn and hung them on the ceiling to make it look like you were looking up at the exposed ceiling in like an old building. And that really warmed it up. And then using it's all reclaimed barnwood on the walls, and the hardwood floors, and all the fixtures are built by my friends in town. I think all of that comes together to make it feel unique and special, I hope.
Oh, no, it definitely does. And I have to say, for the record, all three of my daughters are such huge fans of Woosah. And Hannah, my oldest at Michigan, her laptop is full of Woosah stickers. And
That's awesome.
She buys all, when she's home and for Christmas too, they all love it. But there's some draw to it that is crossing a lot of cool lines because your customer base seems super diverse.
Yeah, it really
Ages,
is.
suburbanites, cool city artist people.
Yeah.
Like that sort of magic sauce that you have as Woosah, that idea about the environment. Can you just explain? I mean, everyone asks, what's the elevator pitch of what Woosah is, just for the record?
So the word Woosah itself is a meditative word that helps you relax when you say it out loud. And back when I was going to Kendall, I used to make art after school to relax. And so I would sign that body of work Woosah, because for me it represented, feeling grounded and in the same way that nature makes me feel. So nature is definitely my inspiration behind my artwork, but I'm also inspired by other things that make you feel grounded. And I think we also represent community and bringing people together to connect in a way that feels, like you belong right when you walk in the doors. And we aim for that outside coffee too.
No, for sure. But that surprised me, that sort of pivot to coffee. I remember you saying something about, I think we might have a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Well, it's different than it's different than just operating a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Now you're branded Outside Coffee. You have roasts there. You have these amazing exterior that people sit in the winter time in the igloos and stay warm, and
it's crazy.
12 months of the year.
Yeah.
But where did Outside Coffee come from?
It came from that day that I was touring the building. I was standing in the garden, and it all just like clicked. I just had a moment where it was like, this is it. This is the space.
So you never wanted to operate necessarily a coffee shop. That wasn't on your radar.
I did. So I wanted our next space to have a coffee shop in it because I wanted to give our customers a space to connect that didn't revolve around buying things.
Yeah, you could linger, right?
And coffee is that. Like, hey, let's meet for a cup of coffee. But it was never supposed to be outside until I was standing in that garden. And I was like, yeah, Woosah can fit in the building, but what about the coffee shop? And then it all just clicked. And it was like, oh, we'll buy a camper, convert it, and park it out here, and this will be the coffee shop.
Well, the brilliance in Michigan is that it can be operated 12 months of the year. And if you have an outdoor space, back to Savangard, they don't have much to do with their winter. It's not a winter garden. Their beer garden,
They did just put some cool, yurt-looking tents up out there, though.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I don't get out much, as you can tell.
They, just did it this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being nice.
I think last, an hour ago?
Oh, yeah, thanks. I didn't get the push notification. I'm on their email list. No, but so that's what I've admired, not just your work and how you connect you take people and connect them to nature through your work and your imagery and your carving and your paintings and other sort of designs that you're making. But you're creating this larger experience, but also just how every step of the way has been so interesting to me to sort of just watch. And we don't talk about any of this stuff really ever. Yeah. Just small talk, like when I see you, but I'm like curious what's going on. But that's what I've been so amazed to see your growth and then what is next. And I remember that a couple of years ago you were talking about you were going to some trade shows or something, right? To connect that dot for me. And where's that at?
I was supposed to go to a trade show out in LA, I think, called Agenda. It's like a big trade show for clothing brands, but it didn't work out. And I'm happy it didn't because I wasn't ready yet. I was trying to be somewhere that I wasn't yet. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to be bigger than we were and be carried in all of these stores across the nation. I thought that would be the next thing to get me to where I wanted to be. But then I realized it was just having a different location, something that I could express myself creatively in that way, like designing this space and having outside coffee and doing that. So I put wholesale on hold. But it's been on the back of my brain ever since. And now we're kind of dabbling in that again.
Well, that would be one natural thing, unless, you have a few options, although you continue to surprise me in my mind, knowing just in my little tiny turtle brain, I don't have, logically for me, you could either open more locations, on a retail, that's with coffee, that's part, and then you can just scale your merch. Mm-hmm. So those are two tangents of growth. Yeah. And you might be very happy to just be doing what you do now, and there'd be nothing wrong with that scale and all that. But I'm sensing that's probably... No. You're not going to do that for 50 years and then die?
No, I can't. I don't know why I'm this way, but, Kelly will stop me often and be like, babe, can we just take the year? No more businesses, no more big projects. I'm like, I hear you, yes. And then the next day I'll be like, we're opening a wine bar. It's called this, I love it. It's so fun. Yeah. So opening more locations with coffee shop attached, new experience, different brand, same concept in different cities is my goal. I would love to do that.
Why different brand?
Because I have a new idea for a coffee shop that I'm so stoked on. Okay. And I think Outside Coffee was unique, and it was this one thing that wasn't really supposed to happen, and it did, and it worked out, and I'm ready to try something new. I wouldn't want to replicate that again.
Really?
Not in Michigan. It's crazy. It's a lot of work to make that work.
It's less work than starting a whole new brand of Outside Coffee?
If you're having a blast, is it work?
No, but I'm just saying it has an established go through. So it'd be new to that community. I'm not arguing with you. It's your business.
No,
I'm just saying, yeah.
You're right, but I've got the name and the logo and everything in my head already.
Well, now you're done.
It's done.
Going with your past of buying a house and remodeling it before you own it. It's I have this logo and trademark, so I guess I got to start it now.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, where's this drive coming from, this entrepreneurial drive? And do you separate that, the business side of it? Do you think of it as businesses or just creative efforts?
Ooh, I would like to think of them as creative efforts, but a lot of time they feel like businesses.
Well, because they're merged, they're hinged to money in some kind. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But for me, when I start them, it feels like a creative outlet. This is going to be really fun. Mm-hmm. And you forget in that moment how hard it is I do at least, until you're in the middle of it again and you're like, oh my God, why? Yeah. Just licensing with the city and doing all of those logistical things just suck the life out of me. If I could just focus on the branding and the vibe and what's it going to look like and feel like and all of that, I'd never stop doing it.
Well, that's one thing. If you can just have other people execute your curation and vision for spaces and you're not bogged down into the garbage of,
the day-to-day, yeah.
Inspections.
Yeah.
Or just whatever, That is, and also too, you know, when you're this small, when you start, everything starts small. You have to do everything yourself, and then it's like, did I get into this for this reason?
Yeah, you'll be doing something.
Did I go to Kendall to like, you know, worry about wiring on my in the place and whether it's up to code?
3 a.m. and I'm in our mop closet, defrosting our hose to the truck with Kelly, and we just look at each other like,
why do we?
This is it. This is our life. This is business ownership. This is entrepreneurship.
Man. All right. So we've established that you're moving forward with in the next ideas.
Yeah, but not this year.
Kelly won.
Getting married. Getting married this year. That's going to be.
Do you have plans for where you're going to go yet after, like honeymoon or anything?
No, we just started thinking about it. I want to be somewhere that we can relax and like look at, you know, get that beautiful ocean view, but then also drive to some pretty epic trails and mountains. So
that's a spot for you if you want to be mini Brian.
Where?
Santorini, Greece.
I've been looking at Greece.
Dude, come on. Santorini's great because we honeymooned there and we decided not to do a million islands and like move every 3 days. Mm-hmm. We're just like, I don't know, it was 8 or 9 days, and we just unplugged, stayed in this the edge of the volcano that collapsed and westerly views, and it was awesome.
Cool.
But you could hike. There's beaches. There's, you know, you could rent a car and get around. It's a small island, but there was stuff to do.
Was the food good?
Food's great.
Yeah, I told Kel, I was like, we should just think of what kind of food we'd want to eat for like 2 weeks and go there.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah. It's like awesome Greece, Italy.
Yeah, everything's great. I mean, the seafood's amazing. The best meal I ever had, because of the location, was there's this little tiny fishing village, old, on the island of Santorini. It's called Ia. It's OIA.
Okay.
And it has this tiny little fishing harbor, and it has like a little terrace with a couple different like taverns and cafes. And outside plaza, you sit at this table, waiter comes up, gives you a menu. And so I like calamari a lot. So I see grilled calamari, I'm like, oh, I got to try this. And that's a standing thing for me. It's a dumb thing, but if I see calamari on a menu, I'm gonna order it. Yep. Even if it's in a sketch place, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And it's more like a dumb self-imposed rule, but it's more like a dare and a challenge to myself. It's calamari. Eventually, I'm gonna get burned by that. But
hasn't happened yet?
No.
Wow.
I mean, there's been varying levels of like, this is not very good, but I'm not gonna die.
Have you ever been like, is this calamari?
Yes. It has. So I order the calamari. Literally, the waiter goes, okay. He goes over to a boat that was 10 feet away. Or not 10 yards away. Because we're right by the edge of the harbor. Pulls up this cage that has literally nothing but squid in it. And he pulls out this big calamari, and it's like flapping while he picks it out. And he showed it to me, and he goes, yeah, this is your dinner. He went and grilled it up. And it was so good. And it was more like, it wasn't fishy or chewy. It was more like because it was grilled, it was more like a meat.
That's a cool concept. Sorry, I'm going somewhere else with it. I'm just thinking
just like, starting another business in your brain?
No, I was just thinking like,
business?
If someone were to show you, you know, like a cow, like this is going to be it. Would you be like, I'll go with the veggie burger? Like, because I try to be vegan, but I eat fish, no problem. Yeah. And I don't know what it is about fish that I'm like, yes, I will like chop that up and eat that now.
Pescatarian.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I went left field with that.
Well, I mean, it's different if it's like, here's your chicken, his name is Fred, and then you have to put it up, you know?
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah. I don't know.
Kelly wants chickens.
Kelly wants chickens?
She wants chickens and goats and a farm, like the whole thing. One day. Is
this all of this visioning that's happening? Is it kind of Michigan based, or are you guys thinking about other parts of the world and country to live at?
I love Washington. Yeah. Have you been there much?
I've been to Seattle a few times, and I like the I like that whole area.
Yeah, it's epic. Like just the landscape out there. I love it. It's so lush and green, and the water and the mountains. It's got everything except for our family and friends. So.
Well, you can make new friends.
Yeah, I know, but we probably won't move there. Let's be real. You know? We're going to have kids in the next couple of years, and our family's here. I feel like it could be more realistic to have like a little cabin out there that we go to or something.
For real?
Yeah,
Well,
or if we opened a store out there, that's a good excuse to go.
Now you can write off your trips.
There you go.
So you mentioned flashpoints of it, like, over the years where you're, what am I doing? What could I possibly have thought that this was a good idea? There have been points, low points like that, right? Overwhelmed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. This summer was really tough for me. I think I was burnt out for the first time ever. Like,
Yeah.
truly burnt out. Have you ever gotten to that point?
I've been frustrated. That's a great question. Burnout.
I've definitely felt it before, but this was like I had to pause and take some time to like not work.
I've never been in a position where I could just completely unplug and go, you know what, just for the sake of my own business and creative health, to like say I can't work for the next 6 weeks because I got to focus on something not that. I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
Because it just seemed like that would never be possible.
Yeah.
But I think there's times I've been super burnt out.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm phoning stuff in, or it isn't the type of work. Sometimes there's work I do and there's work I love to do. Mm-hmm. And so merging those in the context of being still creative is very satisfying to me, even if it isn't the most exciting project or creative project. I'm still grateful to have those opportunities. And so I sort of try to focus on that gratitude versus like, oh man, I should be doing something else.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't describe it. It was just like the stress.
So what did you do?
I think it's
How did
stress.
you do? So you're this summer, why particularly this summer, and not getting in the weeds about it, but like, to me, that would be a strange time to just observing because things were on a great trajectory.
They were. I tore my Achilles tendon.
That's right.
In March.
I invited you to do the podcast earlier, and you're like, well, I got this problem.
Yeah. It sucked. I mean, that in itself was really hard because, like, I love to hike, work out, be active, and you can't. We remodeled Outside Coffee. We sold our camper, bought the truck, wrapped it, did new branding, dug out all the rocks, replaced the rocks, put in gas lines, did fire pits. It was just like a marathon. We did all that in a week. We closed for 1 week. And so after all that was over and I was still, my Achilles was torn, I was just feeling like really lost. Like I guess I found a lot of purpose or identified a lot with being active. Yeah. And not being able to do that anymore was really hard.
Yeah. So, you realize what you can't do in a hurry. Like, or what you could do.
Even showering, you're like, let me take an hour just to get in here. I have so much empathy now for anybody who has any sort of disability. It's like when you can finally put yourself in those shoes and realize what it's like.
Yeah, especially mobility issues, you just take it for granted.
Yes. And I feel like that was the big lesson. Of course, I found why did I tear my Achilles? I thought it was like the universe showing me that I need to slow the hell down and that the world's not going to fall apart if I slow down. I always thought if I don't keep working at the speed of light and taking on every opportunity that comes my way, that like everything would crumble beneath me or something. And slowing down showed me that like nothing bad came from it. Yeah. I ended up just getting some good rest and coming back feeling refreshed. But it did take me, 3 months to finally say, all right, fine, you win. I'll stop for a little bit.
Right. Will you talk a little bit about just the Wealthy Street corridor and that growth and like what that means for Grand Rapids and how businesses now are sort of, there's been a lot of business success there along that corridor. It's not guaranteed, but what's your take on just that corridor and why it's so attractive to people now?
I think it works because it's literally mixed in with the neighborhood. Like there's houses in between businesses in some instances. And so it's really walkable, it's accessible, it's friendly, and all of the businesses in that area are locally owned. There's nothing like big and commercial. So it feels like a pretty good representation of Grand Rapids culture and like who we are, I guess. I think there's always danger of something being like gentrified and people being pushed out that have been there way longer. And I mean, I think that's a double-edged sword, Growth is good, but it's also bad in other ways. And we've been, I'm always like thrown off when people who don't know me or Woosah, like the people behind it, will say that we're gentrifying the neighborhood. And I don't feel that we are. If anything, we're trying to do the opposite, and we're not like really wealthy people coming in and buying up properties. So I think the image of it is fragile. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you're taking a mainstream concern that there is things happening that are gentrification and a problem. And it's part of our consciousness. Now, whether people should point their finger at you guys, which is ridiculous to me. I mean, you're also LGBTQ
I know. We're like
owned businesses.
Two young lesbians busting our ass to like make these businesses work.
Yeah.
But on the outside, when you drive by, you see what you want to see from this corridor. And, I think it is important to make sure that the rent is accessible and approachable. And coming from Division to Wealthy Street, two very different neighborhoods.
And I'm not discounting. There has been gentrification and displacement of some kind along that corridor. There's always an expense. There's always another side to the coin. When there's reinvigoration and capital investment, it means that something else, it filled some vacuum that was there before. So, I didn't mean to get into anything controversial, and I don't even know that but I think it's good for you to. And being in the arts, like, put that out there. It's not like you have a liquor license and a license to print money.
Yeah.
Like, you're surviving on, like, what you carve, what you paint, and what you can sell to people that say, I want to take this sticker and put it on my laptop. I want to use your thermos mug.
Yeah.
I want to hang your art on my wall. Mm-hmm. Like, that's an amazing thing to be successful in, that these things come out of your hands and your mind and your eyes, and then people are taking them and wearing them.
Yeah, it's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
It blows my mind. Like, I can't have a bad day when I'm driving around and pass someone wearing a Woosah hat or a shirt. I'm like, screw me. Why? What do I have to be mad about? It's just the coolest feeling.
But it's a rare air when you can get people to buy things that they don't need. No one needs, we can all buy shirts.
T-shirts.
Yeah, we can buy them cheaper. We can buy them, hats, whatever. But when they co-sign and co-align themselves with what they think your brand is and who you are as an artist, that has to be the ultimate satisfaction, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Besides that, and being able to be profitable at it.
Yeah, definitely. Those two things are pretty great.
I mean, I used to live in your neighborhood along the Wealthy Street corridor, and I haven't lived there for 10 or 12 years now, but I lived right on Charles, and where your building is named, it used to be called Wealthy at Charles because it was on Wealthy and Charles Street. Mm-hmm. And Charles is actually your other street, right? So you're bordered by Wealthy and Charles, obviously, and I lived on Charles, just a block north of you.
Same person.
Same person, same place.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. What it means is that, but I was there when the neighborhood wasn't that great. There wasn't walkable opportunities on Wealthy Street. You had Art of the Table and you had Wealthy Street Bakery, and that was it. And it was kind of like some odd little bar here and there, and some kind of misfit little legal services. Like, there wasn't much there at all. It had been mostly.
Wasn't there an upholstery shop where we currently are before Wealthy at Charles?
I'm trying to remember. I think you're right.
For a little bit, I think there was. But the history is.
But to see the growth of it now, I mean, I think it's. I would like to see more minority-owned businesses along that corridor. Mm-hmm. But Paul Lee's doing amazing things. Like, I mean, it's just it's what you make of it, and I don't think that corridor. I think of more than many corridors in the city. I think has been intentional in terms of its business growth, and people can't come in unless there's opportunity, and you find your own opportunity. But
right on.
Anyway, it's been great to watch, and sometimes I'm jealous I still don't live in that neighborhood.
Do you miss it?
I do. I miss the neighborhood. I miss that community vibe. I don't have I still live in an old neighborhood now. Yeah. But I'm not walkable to the bakery, or I'm not walkable to outside coffee. I could have walked 1 block to your place. Yeah. And had my morning coffee there, and then gone and had some amazing tacos. And
Yeah.
it's all about food right now for me, as you can tell.
I lived in Alder Heights for a year when I had bought that house before moving to the building. And I felt so far away from downtown. It was 4 miles, and I felt like I was so disconnected.
Yeah.
And then now I live above the shop, so we're like literally on top of Wealthy Street every day. And I find myself, not so much now, but the first 2 years, it's been just over 2 years, being like, oh man, I want to live in the woods, like wanting the opposite.
Right.
And then
I think it's hard if you live over your business, though.
it was very hard.
Yeah.
Like just now I'm finally feeling like this is my home and I can relax here. But I would
Over your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would feel like a lot of guilt if I was not working all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, I think it's because we're buying the building that I feel like, okay, this is my home. It's not going anywhere. Like I can relax here.
Well, you also seem to have some good staff that you rely on too, because it seems to be run really well. And I don't know her name, but there was someone who helped us when we were there just around Christmas time.
Sarah's our manager in the shop.
She was
and
probably that person, but she
she's
was
tall
great.
and has brown hair.
Yeah, that was her.
Yeah.
And I happened to be with my youngest daughter, Faith, and we went in, and she was just great with her, and just like the whole vibe there was awesome. But that helps you relax even if you're living upstairs. Like your brand is being taken care of, but you still have to trust people.
Yeah.
To because if they have a bad impression, or if your retail, if your manager's a little snippy at people, it's like, well, that's not Woosah. That's not my brand.
Right. We hired Sarah like 2 weeks 2 weeks before I tore my Achilles. It was like just in time because I used to run the shop every day. And so we hired her and I tore it and it was like, I can't run the shop. Like I'm not going to be down here. And ever since then, I haven't been in the shop. It just runs.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I would have taken that leap of faith so quick if I hadn't, torn my Achilles and been like, all right, I'm out of here.
It's showing you that other people can, swipe cards and take transactions and host things, and now you can just work. And
Sarah is super talented. She was the visual merchandiser at West Elm and North Face, so we lucked out to snag her. She's been like awesome to have.
Well, the merch and just how everything's explained. Merch sounds cheap, but how you've curated that space is off the charts. It's people feel so. You should be very, very proud of it, just from the standpoint of, seeing a lot of different places come and go. But that definitely feels like a place that people want to. Because I feel that way when I go there.
Thanks.
All right, that's enough. Me pumping your
tooting my horn.
Tooting the horn.
Tooting the horn.
You're gassing me up. Well, thanks for coming in. I feel like there's a million things that we could talk about, but I think there's a part 2 coming maybe next year. And I want another update because things are moving too quick. I
know. Hopefully I don't tear my other Achilles. It's like my worst fear now.
What if you tear the same one again?
You can do that too.
Really?
Yeah. It's a full year recovery, and I'm coming up on 10 months, so I'm almost there.
What's part of that process? Just like a bunch of rehab and pain?
It's not painful anymore.
No.
But like I can't do like pickup basketball yet. I can't do any quick, like side to side. I tore it playing pickleball, by the way.
Pickleball? Well, that's cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
I like pickleball. It is an old person's game.
Yeah.
But there's 2 things I like. I like racquetball, I like watching tennis, and I love playing table tennis. Yeah. So it's kind of like all 3 of those.
Yes. It's so much fun.
Yeah, pickleball looks like a blast.
Love pickleball. I can't play pickleball yet. So.
Well, when you're almost ready to start back, let me know, because I do want to play it sometime.
Okay. I'm going to hit you up.
No, I'm serious. I would go and do it in a heartbeat because it looks like a lot of fun.
There's this place off Plainfield called GR Racket and Sport, I think.
Yeah.
They have social pickleball leagues. That I went there for my first time not knowing it was social pickleball night. Within 5 minutes playing is when it snapped and I went down. No. So I haven't been back since, so I want to go back and let them know, because they all said that I didn't tear it because I wasn't crying, but I'm a tough cookie.
Wow.
Yeah, so I want to let them know.
So that you did tear it. You're like, see that?
I'm going to show them my scar, yeah. I cried as soon as I got in the car.
I'll be by to buy coffee and more stickers for my laptop, and probably hats for my girls, and maybe I'll start journaling.
There you go. I'm going to make some journals soon. So.
Okay.
Yep, I'll hook you up.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
I'm really, really happy for your success, though. Like, I have to say, just for the record, the risk of being awkward, I love that we give each other shit, but like you are somebody I really admire in the community. Your drive, your art I love, and also just see you successful as an entrepreneur. Like, it makes me feel good that you are having this sort of ride, and it's all through your, through your own vision and your own drive and your own talent. It's rare to have that, and I think Grand Rapids could do. I hope you stay a long, long time.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that.
All right.
Right back at you.
I feel like a dad now. Sorry. All right.
No, that was so sweet.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Pickleball. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Thanks, Erica.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, that was a fun conversation for sure. I just love Erica. As I said there at the end, I sort of felt like a dad, but we have so many things in common just as early on when I was about her age, merging your artistic career with a business career, and it ain't easy, folks. And to see Erica doing so well is amazing. Check out Woosah Outfitters on Wealthy Street, or you can go to Woosah Outfitters website, which I have links to on Erica's episode page. Really cool apparel, great artwork. So it doesn't matter where you live in the country or the world, you might want to get some of that Woosah into your life. All right. Also, check out Erica's dedicated episode page and all our past episodes at fullexposurepodcast.com. All right. I hope you have a great week, everybody. Go get it. This Full Exposure Podcast episode has been made possible through the support of Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn, who believe that creativity and the arts are essential to a rich, healthy, and fulfilling life.